Championship is back. It's the biggest league in in Rugby League, and it's not on the telly. Sheffield, Toulouse and Wakefield, Bradford on Friday. Sunday, it's Batley, Fev, Dewsbury, Halifax, Doncaster, York, Whitehaven, Swinton, and Widnes versus Barrow.
We've got a new Championship correspondent this year, because
they keep getting
Craig Lingard was last year.
He's doing something else there. Yeah.
So we've got Paul Cook, who has joined York and is a man of impressive opinion, as he showed on Sky on Thursday night.
He's good.
And we went through all the teams, because he's not picked where they're going to finish. We've done that because you don't want it.
Because you have to put your.
You don't want it pinning on the wall. And he says we're going to be relegated. But as we talked about it, and I'd forgotten he'd actually played in the Championship when he was with Doncaster at the end of his career. So not only has he been watching it with Premier, so he knows all the teams, but clearly he knows, how competitive it can be. And just by talking to him, you realise that this year there is going to be very little form line other than you expect Wakefield to win more games than they lose. And as he says, and other people have said, if you turn up anywhere without your A game or your proper head on, there's a likelihood you'll get beat, and that makes it a great league.
Former Wakefield halfback says Wakefield need to get their heads right. There you go. And
he loves Cumbria. He loves going to Cumbria. Thinks they're real, genuine rugby league people.
That's the Championship. League One. What is League One? Hunslet versus Newcastle, Keighley, Cornwall, Midlands versus Rochdale in the Alexander Stadium, because they're actually in the proper stadium this week. So now everyone who was moaning that they were playing on the park pitch or whatever, now they're playing in the stadium. Everyone can moan about the athletics track. So that's good. Memories of Don Valley for people. And Workington versus Oldham. Moneybags Oldham. They're good. Is it the same for League One that for the Championship? Everything you've written about Wakefield is going to be written about Oldham. Well,
I think Keighley will have a say in that division. But I do think that's a real test for Oldham, having come on. I mean, everybody assumed that they again, with a part Super League team, were going to walk through every game they played, and they played 2 cup games against higher ranked teams of a different division, but have not won. So now everybody's saying, oh well, but going to Workington, if the weather's anything like it is at the moment, that is going to be a really tough test for them.
It won't be easy.
But I also think that I'd like to round of applause for Newcastle for getting to the line and going to Hunslet. And again, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I think there's a new Forty20 out this week. Great piece from Chris Thorman.
It's orange.
Chris Thorman has written about how it's all come about and why he's positive that they do have a future, and that you can't read anything into the 1895 results, and that if they were going to pick a group, it would have been all the 3 teams that they played that they wouldn't have wanted to play. But the most important thing is that they are going to Hunslet, and it might take them a few weeks to get their squad. And he said the average age of his team is going to be 20. I mean, that's got to be the youngest squad to ever play part-time professional rugby. So it'll take them a little while, even in League One, to find their feet. But the fact that they are going to Hunslet and will fulfil the fixture.
Are they mainly through their system as well? So, or a lot of them are from the...
He said that some of them have come through the scholarship and academy system they had. There isn't a lot coming through the community game that are at that level, but the area that he's found that they can develop players is the student game. Yeah. Got 3 very strong universities up there: Northumbria, Newcastle, and Durham, and they're bringing players in from that, and they will take a little while to get to that level. But he's doing dual reg with a couple of clubs as well. I don't know why I'm telling you this, because you won't read the answer. He's doing dual reg with a couple of clubs, and he said a lot of other coaches have offered to help out, and it's just a great story. So I think we should all support Newcastle's journey, not necessarily. If you're a Hunslet fan, I'm not saying they need to, but the fact that they're playing that game is excellent.
It's okay, because when Hunslet win, and this is no disrespect to Newcastle, when they win 60-70-0, then everyone's going to be saying, what's the point in Newcastle?
Read the article, there is a point in Newcastle.
Now, I mean, as much as that game you would think it's going to be a walkover, how the hell did Cornwall prepare for their first game? They've had players banned. They haven't played a game since
they played York Acorn in the cup.
I played York Acorn, sorry. What happened from that? Was it one of those RFL investigations?
There's a real
that goes,
spat and war of words between the clubs, but I don't think we've had any fines.
as opposed to in
put
the
down.
NRL when they're sorting out if he's got an 8-game ban.
Spencer Leniu was heard early because they wanted to put a line under it, and he pleaded guilty, and they just went, well, we won't wait till the disciplinary, come in now, we'll sort it, there's the reason. Roosters have issued a statement saying, they're not condoning anything he said. What a perfect way to deal with it. It was the whole trial was transcribed as it happened, so the fans could see on NRL.com and League Unlimited what was said by the judiciary by the councils, what the judiciary recommended an 8-match ban. He got an 8-match ban.
Language and the meaning of words in different countries and cultures and things. It's a minefield, isn't it? But there you go. The NRL have taken. That's what they're doing. This is it.
I do fear for Cornwall going to Keighley.
Yeah, because Keighley are good. You've seen them.
I have, yeah. They played well against Bradford.
I just think those 3 games they've had will stand them in much better stead than.
One game against York Acon, which they lost. I still don't know what Cornwall are.
No.
I'm not sure anyone knows what they are they? Apart from Ottawa, which is obviously what they were. Hemel. But they've got a vote. So, I'm not decrying. I'm not saying they shouldn't exist. I don't. When they get in a new stadium, when Truro City get it built or whatever, Cornwall, it just feels like it feels more away from us than Toronto, because at least I've got a feel for where Toronto is and existed, and Cornwall's just that bit down the end of the country.
You've never been to Cornwall?
No, it's too far.
Beautiful county.
I've seen it. It looks nice.
Yeah,
Cornish past it's
beautiful.
obviously good. We've had them.
The Eden
Fudge.
Project.
One of my
Fudge.
favourite places in the UK, Cornwall.
But-
Beautiful.
I mean, I like the Isle of Wight, but we haven't put a
Well, you
team
could
there.
referee down
It's a blooming long way to go to do a game, isn't it?
Expenses. Do you get expenses?
Well, you did when you were refereeing, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Did
Don't
that,
want to
include,
turn
that
up,
now?
yeah.
did that include a night in the Penzance Holiday Inn? Or?
I think some of them.
Toronto Penitentiary.
I think some of them even flew down to Exeter or Newquay or wherever.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I wish them well. I've not seen them play.
They're growing the crowds. They get
They get
reasonably
1,000.
healthy crowds,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
And they get media
Yeah.
coverage, which most of our teams don't
Yeah.
get.
Fair
So
play.
They're a very proactive media manager.
I'd like to know what
Yes.
what's
What's the development plan?
the Women's Challenge Cup starts this week, sponsored by our friends at Betfred. The Cheltenham Festival starts, and I've got some rugby league related horses,
Have you?
which I'll put up tomorrow. None of them will probably win because I don't know anything about horse racing. I think of horse racing, but I've worked for a bookmaker for 13, 14 years now. Everyone does these Cheltenham preview nights. Nobody buys me, so I don't have a bloody clue. Pick the one with the best name. But the Challenge Cup starts this week. Bradford versus Warrington, Cardiff versus Barrow, Huddersfield Hull KR, Sheffield York, St Helens London, Leeds, and Salford versus Wigan. So I don't know what's going to happen in those games, but it's group stages.
I think the seeded teams, because it's not seeded, but clearly the teams from the higher division.
will win their matches. Yeah. Interesting. And again, it's interesting, talking about how Wigan have played the team they did against London in the men's Super League this week, how St Helens and Leeds and York play. I mean, York especially, because they're playing against their dual reg partners in Sheffield, so they won't want to demoralise them too much.
I think it's a great opportunity for the lower ranked clubs to be benchmarked. So it's not a bad thing in that respect. But we're all going to expect to sit here next Monday and see some high scores. It doesn't detract from anything.
One of the things that stood out when I spoke to Emma McManus last week at the Saints paying their women press conference, and he said it at the top table as well, about the sport needing to drive minimum standards. It's not down to the clubs, because to an extent so far it has been. The sport needs to drive minimum standards. Now, what those minimum standards are, I don't know. But
would it be a run for the media?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Rather than a Morrison's Cafe?
But if you call the competition Super League and that is the elite, should teams be playing at community venues for their home games in the league itself? And the answer I would say to that is no, because that is not super and that is not elite.
Wigan's women are opening their Super League campaign at the DW for the first time with a double header with the men, and that's got to be how you.
And I
start
know
to
that
look
not
at it.
every club can play their games
No.
at the home of their men's team. I know that's not always possible. And Wigan have the thing next door which they can play, and that's a perfectly serviceable venue, so that's fine. But
You have to show the intention. You may not play every fixture there, but to kick off their very first game as a double header, it's moving in the right direction, isn't it?
when you play every game at a community ground, that's not super. So, but what do I know?